All right, we got it this time. We're on take 19, I think. It's tough when you have dogs and they come down with you when you're trying to record. Anyways, Theology Nights welcome video, because we have not done this since I started way back in June. And I was watching it and I was like, wow, we are missing out on a lot of stuff that we do. And so this is just an updated welcome video. Two-part. One, I want to introduce any new guests to what we do. And then number two, I want to update the current guests, current viewers, on our plans for the future and kind of introduce you to this new backdrop here and tell you what we'll be doing from here. So to the new viewer, welcome. My name's Brad. I am your host. I am your big cheese kind of guy. I do everything with Theology Nights. I post all of our content. I do all of our website maintenance. I do all of our teaching. Thankfully, I have a lot of people outside of my immediate community that have helped me and encouraged me, given me tips and tricks and stuff like that. I rely on those guys a lot, but you can see my face behind the camera each and every Tuesday night for our live show, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's our big thing that we do week in and week out. We stream through Facebook Live, facebook.com/theologynights. We also stream through our website, theologynights.com. We also post the video to YouTube, youtube.com/theologynights, and we pull the audio from the live show and we post that to your favorite podcast app. So you have various ways that you can watch our show or listen to our show. I know not everybody is able to commit the 40 or so minutes to watch the show. And so the podcast is a great way for you to keep up on what we're teaching about. Go to iTunes. You can subscribe to us on there. Google Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Tune FM, all of those. We're on there. Just search Theology Nights. Make sure you subscribe. Leave us a review. It really helps us out. The more reviews and subscriptions that we get, the more organic promotions that we're able to receive. It doesn't cost us anything. So if you are subscribed, please make sure you leave a comment. Or if you're not subscribed, hey, go ahead and subscribe, and you'll get notified of all of our new content. So the live show is the big thing that we do. If you're new to Theology Nights, we've been doing that since June. That's kind of what we started with when I had this idea to do something online. I wanted to do something that was unique. There's not a lot of people that do live shows. We have a plethora of podcasts and other things like that. But the live show was what I started as a way to engage my online community that I interact with. So we started that in June. We used to meet on Fridays. And then a couple months ago, we changed to Tuesdays to try to create more of an audience. And so far, it's going great. And so with the live show, if you've never watched, what we do for the live show is a big thing that we do is we have interviews with pastors and authors, theologians, pastors from my local community, pastors from other states, guys that I've gotten to know really well through social media. We've had some amazing guests. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can look up some big names that we've had. We have a whole long list of guests that are scheduled as well. So make sure you tune in to the show on Tuesday nights. That way you can learn. The goal when I bring these people on is so we can learn. And we always try to talk about what it means to be a follower of Christ from like a practical level. We've had guys that are New Testament professors, but I also bring on guys that are just like me. You know, we're doing the laboring of theology work on a day-to-day basis, but we're also trying to follow Christ the best that we can. So when I bring these people on, we always talk about how we can do that more effectively. And so you won't be overwhelmed by what they're saying, or you won't think like, well, how does this have any application towards my life? We always talk about how it can apply to your life. So please join us for our interviews. And then we also do exegetical studies of the text. We do book recommendations. I've done theological topic discussions where I've picked specific things, kind of like buzzwords that are going on, and I've talked about those. We've pulled articles that certain sites have written, and I've worked through those, and we've talked about that. We do a lot of different things on the live show. We keep it around 40 to 45 minutes. Sometimes we've gone longer, sometimes they're not as long, but that's kind of what you get with the Tuesday night show. And so another addition to the content that we produce is we have our website and we have our social media following, which is really growing. And one of the things that I've been able to do since I started this was to interact with guys that do similar things as to Theology Nights. And so I try to point out their content as much as I can. There are a lot of guys that have really helped me to do what I'm able to do today. They've given me tips and they've given me encouragement. I've been able to reach out to them for help, and they've been able to provide it. And so I want to point you to their content. So another thing that you'll see is I post something on social media every single day of the week, whether it's a quote, whether it's a scripture, whether it's a quick Bible study, if it's an article to another website, if it's a link to a podcast. But that was the big thing that I wanted to do when I started Theology Nights, was to have something every single day of the week. And so thankfully, we've been able to do that. And so make sure you follow us on all of our social media, facebook.com/Theology Nights. We're on Instagram too. You can search for Theology Nights there. And then our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Theology Nights. Make sure you follow us on all of those social media avenues because, like I said, we post content every single day of the week. And the next step, as we continue to progress in what we're doing here at Theology Nights, is this area right here. And so if you're familiar with Theology Nights, you know that the backdrop for the live show is always my books. I'm very proud of my library, and I want to show them off. And so that's kind of what you can see. It's right over there. It hasn't gone anywhere, don't worry. But the live show is focused on the books. That's the backdrop. This backdrop is new. So my beautiful, amazing, gorgeous, super smart wife was so nice when we found our house that we live in. I remember we walked into the basement and the basement was finished, and I just still remember my reaction. And I think I looked at her or something, and she must have realized what I was looking at her for, and she was like, "You can have the basement." And so I am lucky, and believe me, every single day, as I mentioned. In one of the what show was that? I did kind of how I organized. Oh yeah. When I talked about bullet journaling, one of the things that I write down on my bullet journal every day is, I'm thankful for my wife and my house and my family and my job and all of those things. But one of the things that I write down is that I'm so thankful for the resources that I have. With my cameras, my computer, my books. But down here, we have a finished basement, and I have half the basement, seriously. And there are cables all over the place. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's lights everywhere. And my wife was just like, go ahead and do it. And so I am just really, really thankful that she understands how my brain works, and she supports my content creation so much. I don't even really remember where I was going by saying all of this. Now I remember. I want to be a good steward of this area, and so I want to use it to the best of my ability. And so that's why I created this area over here. This is for our new teaching that we'll be doing. So I don't have consistency. I don't have any routine yet. I just know that it'll be once a week that I will be teaching from this angle, and this will be a little bit different. I plan on doing book studies through here, walking through, right now I'm teaching through Ephesians, and so maybe I'll do some of that through here. I taught through Hebrews a while ago. Maybe I'll work through Hebrews from this angle. I get asked a lot of questions that I want to answer, but I don't necessarily have enough built in to put them specifically on the live show. And so what I thought I would do from this angle too is just kind of answer a lot of those questions, allow us to answer them, but not sort of be all right, well, what do we talk about now? The big thing, though, is from this angle, the videos are going to be shorter. I'm going to try to keep them to 15 minutes. That's probably not always going to happen. I am long-winded, but I'm going to try. So these videos will just be they'll be a little bit different. The big thing when you're creating content is you want to have as many avenues as you can. And so the live show will be exclusive over there. We'll still do that on Tuesday nights, but the videos that I do over here will be a little bit different. Just, again, another way to keep you guys engaged with content every single day of the week. I was so excited to do this. Listen, I bought this at Hobby Lobby for $12. It's just a sheet. It's just fabric. It's $12. And then I have a clamp light over here, and I have a clamp light here. I bought these things for $6. And so now I have really nice photography lighting as well. But it doesn't take a lot of money to create content. And of course, the important thing about what we do is I want to make sure all of my content is theologically sound. That's more important. But listen, I understand, because my brain works this way. You don't want to watch content that's poorly produced, especially when I'm trying to produce content to honor Christ. I spend time on trying to make sure it looks good. I do take after take after take, and I spend a lot of time in the basement with moving lights around and doing trial runs and things like that. I move stuff around all the time because I want it to look good. I don't spend more time focusing on the look of the content, but believe me, I spend a lot of time making sure this looks good for you guys, because I want to give you guys good content, but I also want to honor Christ through what He's given to me. And so that's kind of a quick update on what we're doing here. One of the big things that we have coming up too is just more engaging content. I have plans that I want to do things out in our local community, some live events and things like that. We'll talk about that a little bit more down the road. But for right now, this is what you can expect from me. Let me kind of run through the list again. Number one, our live show will continue every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, streaming live through Facebook, also streaming live on our website, theologynights.com. And then afterwards, the video is posted to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/theologynights. And listen, the live show is interactive. Please participate in the chat room. If you have questions that you want to ask during the show, please do. I don't always get to them right as soon as you ask them, but if you ask a question during our show, I will answer it during that time. Now, unless it's a really big topic, and I will at least acknowledge you and say, hey, I'm going to add this to a specific show, but I try to answer every single question that comes in. And if I'm not able to, I'll send you a message and say, hey, listen, that is way out of my league, but let me do some research. Let's work on this together. I'm going to at least try to make an attempt to point you in the direction of the answer, or I'll answer it myself. So that's the big thing that we do with the live show. Number two, we have our podcast. I had tried to do exclusive podcasts, outside of the live show and stuff like that. I haven't been able to do that yet. I still plan on doing that, but the podcast is another option that you can follow. iTunes, Google Podcast, Spotify, all the avenues. You can find us on any of your favorite apps. And then we have our articles section, which I post articles every once in a while that I've written, but more commonly I link to other blogs and other sites and things like that, and so you can check that out at theologynights.com. Click the articles link. Then lastly is our teaching, and so teaching is, well, not lastly because I have one more, but teaching is the new thing. This is from this area here, book studies, shorter question and answer sessions, talking about theology, just different backdrop, new avenue of content. We'll do this once a week, and then lastly is our daily content. Every single day of the week, you're going to be able to find something from us through all of our social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Search Theology Nights on all of those platforms. You can find us. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on the notifications so you receive that whenever we post new content. And hey, listen, share our stuff. It really helps us to grow when people share and interact with our content. But more importantly, listen, our goal is not to hit 1 million subscribers or anything like that. Our goal is to reach people with sound theology. That's the goal. It doesn't matter if I've got 10 subscribers. I'm thankful that we've experienced this massive growth since we started, and that certainly helps out with what we're trying to do. But my goal has always been just to reach people. In our area, there's not really anything like this that's going on. And so I want to do the best that I can to be a good steward of my resources, my time, your time, and use what God has given me to glorify Him, to make much of His name. That's the big thing you'll hear me say all the time, is we want to make much of Christ in all that we do on all of our platforms. And so I try to produce daily content, whether it's links to other articles. I like linking to other articles, social media quotes, scripture quotes. I'll do quick exegetical work on some sections of scripture, maybe a word study or something that I'll post. I post book recommendations. That's a big thing that I do on Instagram. I'm one of those guys that I take really fancy pictures of my book. And so you can follow me on Instagram if you're interested in that. Listen, I'm a nerd. I don't even care. The pictures look really good. And that's a way that, if you want to recommend books, make the pictures look good. Making stuff look good making stuff looks good. Making stuff that looks good. There we go. That really helps. You don't want to look at stuff that's bad quality. Plain and simple. The message is more important. The content is more important. Absolutely. But the production is just as important. You want stuff to look good, right? So I value taking good pictures. I see that as a good avenue. And so I take pictures of my books that I do recommendations from. I take pictures of the books that I'm working through so you guys can see that. I do a lot of behind the scenes work because, listen, theology can be a scary task to take on. And I'm just a normal guy. I don't teach at a seminary. I don't have a PhD. I'm just a normal follower of Christ. And I'm trying to get you guys to see what it looks like to live a normal life for Christ while growing in your understanding of Christ, while pursuing right theology, to make much of Him in all that I do. That's what I'm trying to do. And so I want you guys to see how accessible that life is. I don't want to turn anybody off when I talk about theology and you see all these books and you think that's reserved for super intellectual guys. Like, listen, like that's not me. I am thankful that Christ has empowered me to grow in my knowledge. But like, listen, like I don't have a Christian sort of upbringing. This is something that is still new to me. So we're growing together. We're learning together. But my goal with Theology Nights is to have something every single day of the week for you. I want to create engaging content. I want to create solid theology. I want to create content that looks good. But I just want you guys to see what it looks like from the point of view of somebody who is really concerned with helping others grow in their theology and myself grow in my understanding of Christ too, from a day-to-day perspective. So that's why I post practical content. I post pictures of the books that I'm doing. I'll post videos, sort of behind-the-scenes stuff, more lighthearted, vlog-style videos. That's the goal with Theology Nights. So listen, if you have any suggestions, comments, encouragements, rebukes, if you think my beard looks weird, tell me. Listen, go to theologynights.com. You can submit a question right on there. Send us a message on Facebook as well. I try to respond to those right away. But make sure you just follow us on all of our content. Facebook.com/Theology Nights, YouTube.com/Theology Nights, and theologynights.com for all things related to Theology Nights. I look forward to growing with you. Listen, we are 8 months in, and at the time of recording, we're 8 months in, and I feel like we're right on the edge of just sort of blowing up and taking this to a whole different level. And so I would hope that you guys would join me, that you would share our content, you would subscribe to our content, but most importantly, you would pray for me as I labor over this every day of the week, that you would pray for my wife as well, because I spend a lot of time doing this stuff, and sometimes I'm so focused on this that I allow it to consume me, and it consumes my mood and my thoughts and my day-to-day activities and stuff like that. So pray that I'd be a good steward of my time. Pray for my wife as well, because she's just as involved with this as I am. She's behind the scenes, and she certainly isn't in front of the camera, but listen, she's just as involved with this, so pray for my wife as well. But pray that we would just be good stewards of what God has given us, that we would make much of Christ in all that we would do on all of our platforms for the glory of His name, not for mine, but the glory of His name, so we can help you guys grow. Listen, I look forward to helping you guys, and if I can encourage you in any way, if you have questions, if you need book recommendations, if you need a sermon recommendation, podcast recommendation, anything, please listen, reach out to me. I would love to chat with you. If you have questions, I look forward to answering those. Have a wonderful week, guys. Talk to you soon. Thanks.